Welcome to episode 47 of the Create Your Vibrant Life podcast. So today we're going to start by defining success. Not any success, but your specific success. And then I'm going to be sharing a specific formula for achieving your success. If you're the type of person who's ready to achieve your massive success, you might want to stay till the end and discover this amazing, powerful, yet simple formula that you can put to use right away. So ready? Hello, visionaries. Welcome to Create Your Vibrant Life podcast, where you can create the life you desire by tapping into your inner wisdom. I'm your host, Padma Ali. I'm widely known in the field of psychology to create long-lasting transformation. And now I'm here to help you create the life you desire using a combination of neuropsychology and ancient healing practices. This podcast is for you, evolved, overachieving leader who's ready to unlock your highest potential. I'm here to guide you through a process of self-discovery to be the creator of your destiny. And you can do all of that by just taking aligned actions, tapping into the power of your brain, your inner wisdom, and ancient practices. So stay tuned, folks. I am so delighted you are here. What's up, visionaries? How are you all? So today's topic is all about how to achieve massive success. Okay, so what exactly or what specifically is success? See, Webster defines success as a favorable or desired outcome. Did you notice that it didn't say what society or people around you deem as desired outcome? It says a favorable or desired outcome. So, in essence, it is very much specific to you, isn't it? Then why, my friends, do we define success by others or by comparison? You know, when I was doing research on this topic, I noticed something. What might be success defined as success for one person may not be defined as success for another. In this research that I did, what I noticed was, for example, you can live luxuriously for $1,400 US dollars with a housekeeper, traveling, doing whatever you want in Vietnam, versus you may not even be able to rent a studio in San Francisco with that budget. So someone making $1,400 can be considered a success in Vietnam, versus in someone living in the Bay Area in San Francisco might be like, I can't even lift a pinky with that money. I'm just joking, but do you see how it is varied? What might be successful for one person may have nothing to do with success for another. But we are programmed from such a young age to define success by such parameters, we put ourselves in such tiny boxes when it comes to success. So I'm sharing all of this to tell you to define success in your own terms. This is an invitation for you to stop comparing your success to that of another person, because you do not know what that person's life has been or is, or what their path is, or why they are here on this planet. I'm going a little 30-foot overview about this whole thing, but I'm inviting you to stop comparing. You know, from a young age, we're told what is success. Go to this particular school, get this degree, and oh, God forbid, you don't go to the top school, you're not success. You know, a while ago, I was working with a client, a very young woman, still in college, and goodness, she judged herself so much for not going to the top school, for not getting the top grades, and she thought she was not successful based on all the things that she was facing at that very, very young age. And all that was driven by not feeling good about herself. That was what was driving it. That was what was driving the comparison. And we actually ended up work together because I couldn't get her to see her own value. She was so incredible, so talented, so gifted. But when you can't see your own value, when you can't see that you're limiting yourself and you're limiting yourself by your own thoughts and your own beliefs, it's very hard to progress forward. So we ended our work. But I'm sharing this to share with you that when you do that, you're trapping yourself. You're really trapping yourself when you are defining your success based on what you see in others around you. And here's the piece. We all have felt this way at one point in our life or another, haven't we? Oh my goodness, I have judged myself. I haven't seen my own value. I have done that. I did that for many years. And part of the driving factor in me pushing for psychology as my path or being a psychotherapist for so many years before doing what I'm doing right now was driven by that inner need to find myself, to find what is my value. It was really, in all transparency, I was really searching for myself in that process. And what other way to do it than dive deep into that subject, right? To the subject of the mind. And that's what I did. But now, at this point, and this is something I invite all my clients to do as well, I don't look for what value I provide. I don't compare my value with success. I just do what's in alignment for me and let the universe take care of the rest for me. I have learned to co-create with the universe by just being in alignment with what I'm here to do. And this is something I'm inviting you to consider as well. I love this Maya Angelou quote. Success, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. So if you're not driving or not doing something where you can't focus on this, please write this down. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. That's it. That's it. You live the life, you live your life the way you want to live it, and that is successful. When we compare, when we try to live our life based on what's expected of us, it does something to us. Have you noticed this? What it does to you is it robs you of joy. It robs you of living. It robs you of feeling in alignment. And when that's not there, no matter what you do, it will not be successful. Even if you've done everything you want to do and you have the money, you have the title, you have everything you wanted, you still will feel dissatisfied because it's successful defined on someone else's terms and not your term. So before I share the success formula, I wanted to first talk to you about how to feel successful in your life right now. And this is vital before I even share the formula, because you can start to feel successful in your life right now. And when you start to feel successful in your life right now, you are going to create success on the external world. But it starts with an internal process of feeling successful. And I actually have 3 steps to do that, to how to feel successful in your life right now. So the first step is asking yourself, what are your stories? What are your thoughts, your beliefs about success? See, we all have stories. We all have things that we've created around everything in our life. We all have defined success based on something. And that something is based on past experiences, either your own or watching other people around you. You have defined success in a particular way. So the more you bring that to the forefront, the more awareness you bring to the unconscious stories or thoughts around success, the more you're going to be able to do it easily. See, I think about this analogy a lot. It's not an analogy. This is exactly what happens as human beings. A baby is born, okay? And literally, as caregivers, which was done for us and what we tend to do for our own children. We all do this. We literally open our children's brain and dump our ideas, our thoughts about the world, about everything, and we make them look at life a particular way. See, on some level, there's no way to avoid that. But the more you can start to notice, like, this is what was told to me about what is success, but what do I think is success? And that, when you can start to do that, it will really start to open up. When you can question everything in your life, why do I do this? This is how I've done it all along. I wonder what's making me do this. When you can bring that curiosity, start to notice how things start to shift immediately in your life. See, this is one of the main reasons I have neuropsychology as one of my core pillars in creating change. It's all about bringing this unconscious thoughts and stories and beliefs. There's a limiting beliefs that hold us back and letting them go. All right, so the second step to how to feel successful in your life right now is you define your success from right now rather than from the past. What do I mean by that? I'm actually inviting you to forget the past because the past doesn't exist. It's done. It's gone. But we base our entire present based on our past experiences, don't we? See, just take a step back for a minute and look at how are you forming your beliefs. All these beliefs are formed from past experiences. And you may already know that there is only the present moment, but we forget that and we base our present moment based on our past. So then what do, right? We recreate the past in some way for the future, and then we're reliving that. It's literally like Groundhog's Day, over and over and over, recreating the past beliefs in some form. Maybe the circumstances look different, but we're recreating that over and over again when you live from the past beliefs. Now, what are past beliefs? Anything that is holding you back. Fear, lack of confidence, you're beating yourself up. All that is coming from past beliefs, past experiences that have contributed to your beliefs. See, when I've talked about my past episodes about my business that didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, again, in terms of what it was successful on the outside, I learned so much from that business, so much. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without that learning experience. So in my mind, that business was a huge success because of the learning I got from it. But on paper, on the outside, again, I've just labeled it as not that it didn't work out, but the learning from it, it was amazing. See, but during that time when that business was going and I was evaluating every step of the way where it felt like it wasn't meeting my expectations, I gave it a meaning, right? I gave it the meaning that it's not working because something is wrong with me. I'm not doing it right. I need to do something else. I need to figure out how to navigate around these roadblocks. There was so many stories around it, but all of it was just thoughts. And now imagine if I'd carried that same beliefs into my current, what I'm doing, where would my business be right now? Where would the service I'm providing be right now if I kept thinking about, oh my God, I failed in that, I failed in that, I failed in that. I'm going to recreate that here. But that's entirely not the case. You learn from your past and you move on. You just move on. And that's it. See, I'm going to share another example. If you have kids, you can really relate to this. But this is, again, another way for us to learn. Like, even if you don't have kids, this is very, you can relate to it either ways. See, I have a 7-year-old, right? And what do 7-year-olds do? They're constantly leaving things and forgetting things. And I live in Boston, where right now it's super cold. And we go to the park. He's forgotten his hat in the park. And then the other day he forgets his water bottle. And again, like, this is everything. And if I sat there, and of course I get frustrated, I don't share that very openly with him, but I'm like, dude, take on some responsibility. But how do I communicate that, right? How do I communicate that? If I make him feel really bad about it, is he going to learn? But instead, if I can ask him, okay, what did you learn from this? If you don't take care of the things you care about, do you think that they will still remain with you? So that's something I can teach him from that experience. But instead, if I said, how dare you forget, like, it's costing us money, blah, 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 what would happen to him? Right? So this is what we can learn from our own experiences. You can either beat yourself up about something that's not working, or you can say, what can I learn from this? And when you can do that, it's successful. It is really successful. During the 2008, 2009 recession, which is like, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, oh my goodness. My hubby lost his job back then. See, back then, he defined his self-worth, his value, based on his work. And on top of it, our marriage was also struggling at that point. And again, the meaning he added to that was he wasn't successful. But here's the piece, right? No mud, no lotus. Without any mud, no lotus can come out from it. So again, it was an opportunity for him and for me in my own journey, but I'm just using that as an example for him to work through that and not base his success based on anything external, whether it's the job or the marriage or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. Those things do not define your success. But what defines your success is that internal work. Through that internal work, our life is completely different. He's in a job that he loves. He's doing so well. He's so amazing at what he does, but that wouldn't have happened if he hadn't lost his job back then. It made us move cross country. We were living in San Francisco at that time. Made us move cross country. Our life is expansive right now because of those things. But if you have based your success on what is external to you, he could have done that. He could have continued being in that spiral. It would have made him stagnant. And I'm sharing this because I am positive that at some point you've had experiences like that. Now, what meaning are you adding to that? See, the fact that you're still listening to this tells me that you are ready to start shifting these things. And it starts with simple shifts. Like, what can I learn from this experience? Instead of labeling it and interpreting it as I am a failure. So, my friends, visionaries, go define your own success. Define success on your terms. All right, the third step to oh goodness, what were we talking about? To how to feel successful in your life right now. For a minute, I lost my train of thought. So the third step to feeling successful in your life right now is, and this will connect us to the formula, which I'm going to give you in a few minutes, is what brings you joy. That's the third step. Question, what brings you joy? Success has nothing to do with what you do, but who you are being. You can have the title, the money, but if you're not joyful in or living in integrity with what you're doing in the world, guess what? You will not feel successful. It will show up in some form or the other in your life. See, take some time to write this down, this question, answer to this question. If you already felt successful, already is the key word, what would you be feeling? What would you be feeling? Who would you be? And then what would you be doing? See, I guarantee you, if you already felt successful, you would feel joy. Whatever you do will bring you joy. And when we can find joy in what we do, guess what? You will do it so well because it's precious to you. See, if you're a parent, you will understand this, right? Parenting is hard work, especially when you're parenting young children. But when you find joy in it, when you can see the impact, or you get to witness this beautiful being blossoming into themselves, it brings you joy. And when it brings you joy, you will do everything to do it well, won't you? It's that same thing. And again, whether you're a parent or not, this is something to take into consideration. What brings you joy? All right, so let's talk about the formula. Guys, it's so simple and yet so powerful. And when you hear this, you will discover how easy it is to practice this every day. And in the process, guess what? You'll begin to see how your life changes in the direction you want it to go. I guarantee you that, well, there are no guarantees in life, but you know what I'm saying. This will begin to change your life. So the first step to this formula, are you ready? Celebrate your wins every single day. Small wins, big wins, tiny wins, massive wins, does not matter. Celebrate your wins every single day. Keep a journal dedicated to this. Or if you're like me, I have my phone with me every time. And in my phone, there's a note app, and I write down my wins every single day. The small wins can be, I was patient with my children. Dude, this is one of the wins I have, because parenting can be challenging. And when you're parenting and running a business and doing other things, sometimes I lose patience. So I've set the intention for being patient with my children, and that is a win I celebrate. Or can be a small win of I exercised today, or big wins like I showed up and did what I'm here to do. Anything. You can pick whatever you want. This is your life. You get to celebrate whatever feels right for you. Now, why does this work? Let's talk about that for a minute. You may already know this. Thoughts are energy. Thoughts are energy in motion. That is emotion. Thoughts create emotion. And what does emotion create? Emotion creates vibration. Everything is vibrating. Now, if you don't know this, or if you don't subscribe to these things, this is not, this is science, this is physics, this is quantum physics about thoughts, and thoughts create emotions, emotions create vibration, and everything is vibrating. See, I was reading in the encyclopedia with my 7-year-old about how the years work. So it said it had the drawing of the year, and it had those little tiny bones. It had the eardrum, and it said the description that when the ear picks up words or sounds, it shows up in the form of vibrations and frequencies. And with the little tiny bones, with how they move, it sends signals to the brain, and the brain then decodes the vibration and the frequency into words and thoughts. Everything is vibration. Everything is energy. Everything is frequency. Right? And so when your thoughts, whatever your thoughts are, they're literally like magnets. It will bring things back to you. And this is why, people have asked me this question like, oh, I seem to manifest all the bad things. And you know why? Because the negative emotions you feel it. You feel the negative emotions much more powerfully than feeling positive emotions, because the positive emotions about what is yet to happen, you can't experience it in the same way like when you have experienced something in the past. Okay? So this is why keeping your thoughts. Again, thoughts are like clouds. You're going to have gazillion thoughts in your day. It doesn't matter. It's not like, oh my God, I had a bad thought. Now everything is going to go wrong. Nope, that's not going to happen. If you hang on to those thoughts that don't make you feel good, then it is, because then you are getting wet with those emotions. And if this does not make sense to you, feel free to DM me on Instagram or write to me. You can find my information and just ask me, because this is so vital. When you can get this, it will really start to shift how you start using your thoughts to create versus destruct. That's the word I was looking for. And seriously, don't take my word for it. Try it out and discover it for yourself and see what that feels like. Okay? When you can celebrate your wins every single day, start to notice how it begins to bring success to you. All right? So the second part of this formula is do everything with love, joy, and being in service. This is vital. When you can bring this element of joy and love and service to whatever you do, your success is inevitable. I'm going to share a personal blind spot and how this hope opened up a huge door for me. Okay. And you may or may not relate to this, but I'm inviting you to use what I'm sharing and apply this to your own life. I'm not sharing these stories just to entertain you. I'm sharing this because I'm inviting you to look at my stories and say, how can I relate to this? What aspect of this can I relate to? Okay. So, all right. So often you may have already had this experience as well. I'm approached on LinkedIn and Instagram by people, and often I feel like there's an agenda behind it, right? They're trying to sell their stuff to me, which is totally fine. But I didn't want to deal with this. It was just like too much work. So what I did, this is my blind spot. I'm talking my blind spot right now. I closed my energy off. I went in with the energy of like every time I would see a DM or I would see someone approaching me on LinkedIn, and I can feel energy. I can sense energy. And I was like, all right, you want something from me. I don't want anything to do with you. Why are you trying to reach out to me? I don't have time for this. This was my unconscious feeling and process. And if someone genuinely wanted to connect, that's a whole different thing. I'm talking about people where I can sense their energy. Okay. I had a barrier up. But that's not my true nature, right? My true nature, if you know me in any capacity, personally, or if you follow me on any of the social media channels, especially on Instagram, you can see all my stories. You can see all aspects of me as a parent and as living my life, right? My nature, and I'm inviting you to sense into my energy too, because if you don't know me personally, how would you know me, right? My nature is to be loving and giving. That's just it. That's just how it is for me. But I had some old beliefs in the past because of my giving tendencies, which I would give just with an open heart. I had felt, again, these were old beliefs. I felt kind of drained or taken advantage of at times. And in the past, okay, this is all in the past, I did not know how to set boundaries around it. I didn't know how to say no with love. So sometimes I would just give too much and then not have enough for myself. So this is what the premise was about blocking my energy off to people who I felt like were needing something from me. So these are all, if you notice, just made up thoughts, right? Ultimately, they're just thoughts that my head created about this whole thing. It created this whole enormous story about giving and how my energy had to be protected and all that blah, 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 blah. So when my mentor pointed this blind spot to me, something went bling, 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 bling in my brain. all this was not true anymore, but I was still living in some capacity with that. So he asked a question, which again, like really opened up everything to me about like saying, he asked me, have I ever said no to my kids? I was like, yeah, pretty much every day, right? And he said, how do I say no? I said, oh, I said no. I said, there's no energy behind it. I'm like, no means no. It's just said with love and there's no energy behind it. So he asked me, what has stopped me from doing that even when I feel like someone's wanting something from me? Why could I not do that with love and joy and with an aspect of still being in service rather than closing my energy off completely? You see, when I closed off my energy like that, I was closing off energy to everyone. How we do one thing is how we do every single thing. And in the process of closing off my energy to everyone, I was closing off energy to possibilities. And this was eye-opening, right? So again, connecting it back to the second step in this formula for success, when you can do everything with love and joy and being of service, so much opens up to you. The result of that was I started getting more invitations from people, genuine invitations, not just people wanting something from me, but genuine invitations to be of service in the world, which is one of my top values, being of service. It was really eye-opening, and I'm sharing that again. Please connect it back into your life and see where in your life are you closing off yourself? Where in your life are you doing things just automatically? Where in your life are you not bringing joy and love and service? Because when you can do things in service, everything will change with whatever work you're doing in the world. You know, I think about my dad. My dad was a very traditional Indian man, and he has passed on since a couple of years ago. He passed on, and what I remember, especially when he passed on, was how many people came out and talked about his love and compassion for them. See, he would treat everyone with kindness. And when he was, you know, I grew up in India, and he was in India when he worked. The hierarchies of society is very pronounced. And I still remember, like, he would treat the doorman the same way as he would treat an executive who's of the same same status as him at the workplace. He knew not only their names, he knew their children's name, and he was just loving and kind pretty much to anyone. And yet, when he needed to set boundaries, he was one of the most boundaried people I ever knew. Like, he was very clear with his boundaries. And when I was doing research on how to exactly share this information, this came to me. I was like, wow, this is so incredible to see that in my own life. So many people reached out, remembering him, remembering that he remembered their names and he had a skill to remember everybody's name and their children's name. And you know what happens, right? If someone addresses you've met them once and they remember your name or they remember your child's name, you are going to leave an impression on them. It's really amazing. After becoming a mother, I've kind of lost my capacity to retain memory for those things, but it's really powerful. It's really powerful. And bringing it back full circle. When you do everything from a place of love, joy, and service, your success is inevitable. Because whatever business you're in, whatever work you're doing in the world, it's still a relationship business, isn't it? It's all about connections. And to date, my business primarily comes from word of mouth and referrals. That's the way it's built. And I'm really, really grateful for that. I'm really thankful for that, because to me that says that's the highest level of appreciation someone can give you, right? When they can refer someone to you, that means that they valued your work with them. And to me, that speaks volumes, and I'm so grateful to be in service. And Yeah, so that brings me to the third point in the formula. This is mind-blowing. When you can really get this, you're done. To be successful, this is the third step in the formula. Just be successful. Yep, to be successful, just be successful. There is no formula for success to be successful. It is, I'm laughing and smiling because, when someone says, how do I be happy? How do I be happy? Just be happy. There is no formula for happiness. There's no formula for success. When you feel successful on the inside, you are successful. No matter what you do. No matter what you do. It does not matter. Just feel successful on the inside and you are successful. It is really as simple as that. But here's again, this ties us back to everything I've shared in this episode. Oh, I don't have this amount of money, or I don't have this title, or I didn't go to that particular school. We base our success on all those external factors. But if you come back to celebrating everything that you're doing every single day, doing everything from a place of love, joy, and service, and feeling successful, guess what will happen? You will be successful. That's it. And that, my friends, my dear visionaries, brings us to the end of this episode. And if you like this episode, I so appreciate a review, because these reviews are not for me. I don't seek any validation from these reviews. It doesn't mean anything to me other than thank you so much for taking the time to do that. But it allows this podcast to reach many people. And I know that if you're a visionary and you're listening to my podcast and you've stayed on till the end, you're getting some value from it. So I'm just requesting that you write a review, because this is going to help us reach a lot more people. And I know that you are the type of person who likes to help people. You wouldn't be listening to my podcast if it weren't for that. So please, if you feel called to, I would love a review. And as a way of reciprocity, which is another law that I live by, once you do write a review, take a screenshot and send it to support@padmaali.com, and my team and I will send you a gift card. Thank you so much. We have limited offerings for that. So if you choose to do it by the end of February, and you will receive a gift card from us. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I will see you in the next. Thank you so much for listening.